नरसिंहमदिं शरणं प्रपदे नरसिंहमदिं शरणं प्रपदे अवकर कमलवरे नखाम अद्भुत श्रृंगार ललिता हिरण्यकशिपु अनुभृंगा केशव धृता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नरसिंह देव जय नरसिंह देव जय नरसिंह देव जय नरसिंह देव जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज भक्ति विघ्नाश नरसिंह देव भगवान की जय भक्त श्रेष्ठ प्रहलाद महाराज की गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि
The Sunday school kids can go to the other side. Those who are registered. Everybody else can. No more school. No more.
Summer vacation. Summer.
Okay. Okay. So they will be here then. Make sure your cell phones are muted. If your kids are here, so make sure no noise. Otherwise, you'll have to go to reception or other side. Come. Yes, kids are muted too. Yeah. Yeah. So everybody can move forward. Mataji is also. Lord and Sadhu also wants to see us as much as we want to. So come forward. Mataji is also. Come forward. So much distance is there. So we are very fortunate to have His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami Maharaj with us. Today, Maharaj will be speaking on Bhagavad Gita. And this Maharaj is senior disciple of Srila Prabhupada, previous BBT editor. And so please take the association and hear with rapt attention. Thank you. Yes. If someone's car is blocking, Subaru A89 NKN, please park properly within your lane. Okay. Any kids making noise, they can go to community hall. Govindranand Mataji will lead.
Oh, neither left here. Any particular verse?
Lights are okay. These lights are okay. These lights are okay.
Yeah, they're okay. Hey, Krishna. Hey. Thank you very much. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Shodanandana Raja Jana Ranjana Shodanandana Raja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Ashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Om Vishnuvad Punaman Supari Prajukacharja Ashtottara Shri Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Sham Gun Radha Gun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Ki Jai. Gangamayi Ki Jai. Jamunamayi Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande. Okay, the competition can leave. Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 14, text 15. Rajasi pralayam gatva karma sangi shujayate tata pralina stamasi murdha yoni shujayate. When one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities. And when one dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom. Purport. Some people have the impression that when the soul reaches the platform of human life, it never goes down again. I don't think you came for the lecture, so you can play with the kids. And if there are any others who are in the same bracket, they can do the same thing. Some people have the impression that when the soul reaches the platform of human life, it never goes down again. This is incorrect. According to this verse, if one develops the mode of ignorance, after his death, he is degraded to an animal form of life. From there, one has to again elevate himself by an evolutionary process to come again to the human form of life. Therefore, those who are actually serious about human life should take to the mode of goodness and in good association, transcend the modes and become situated in Krishna consciousness. This is the aim of human life. Otherwise, there's no guarantee that the human being will again attain to the human status. Om Jnana Timirantasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manopistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Koda Mahyam Tadhati Shapadantikam Vande Hang Shri Guru Shri Jutapada Kamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrashatam Sahagana Raganathan Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savatutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lolita Sri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hori Priye Vansha Kolpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindho Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So first, if we could do a cell phone check, please see that your mobile is in silent mode. Please do check to see that your mobile is in silent mode. So this human form of life is serious business. Durlabha manava janma tadapi adruvam artadam. Prahlad Maharaj says that Durlabha manava janma, with great difficulty we get this human form of life. It's not such a casual thing, and not such a common thing. Out of millions and millions and billions of living entities, some few get this human form of life. If you took the census of this plain field area, the human vote would be lost if you included all the rest of the living entities, the grass, the trees, the bugs. Our vote would count for nothing. So, Durlabha Manava Janma. After wandering around the universe, traveling through so many species of life, finally we get this human form of life. And then we waste it on sense gratification, which is available for the hogs and dogs. And we create a nonsense civilization which is aimed at enhancing cat and dog life so that we can be more sophisticated hogs, more sophisticated dogs, so that we can enjoy refined sense gratification just to our liking. That means wasting the human form of life. Artadam, the human form, can give the greatest benefit. Adruvam, although we only get it for a short time. No one can say, I'll live forever in America. I'll live forever as a human being. For a short time, we get this human life. And if we waste it, it's the greatest loss. Therefore, the Bhagavatam says very urgently, we should take up this Krishna consciousness. We don't know how much time we have. And if we lose the opportunity, we don't know when we'll get such an opportunity again. As mentioned in this verse, Tata pralina stamasi mudha yonishu janmini. Or even rajasi pralayam gatva karma singi shujayate. If we die simply in passion, we come back again to work hard for nothing and waste another human form of life. That also is misfortune. But who's purely in the mode of passion? Even previously, the standard was the mode of goodness. Now, even the mode of passion is an elevated state of consciousness. Even the mode of passion is an elevated state of consciousness because ignorance is taking over more and more. And we think it's also advancement. What are video games? Is that in the mode of goodness? Is it even in passion? And yet we're busy with video games. Our children are busy in video games. And we think that we're going to make progress. And it's so nice, the newer and newer games. And then we grow up and we play adult video games in the marketplace, in the workplace. We're busy in what's really just a game. And we think this is life. So the human life is not meant for wasting in frivolous activities. Therefore, brahmachari gurukule vasandanta gururhitam. The followers of the Vedic system would send their sons to the Gurukul to learn how to control the senses, to learn how to control the mind, to learn how to be Krishna conscious, not to become cats and dogs, which is the standard of modern education. After a few years of modern education, a boy doesn't even know whether he's a boy or a girl anymore. You can't tell the difference between a cow and a bull. And this is considered advancement. To advance in foolishness is the modern standard. That means advancing in the mode of ignorance. Ignorance means I don't know who I am. I don't know what the purpose of my life is. I don't know what comes after this life. I don't know who God is. I don't know my relationship with God. I don't even know what the soul is. This is ignorance. And in that ignorance, this is the next stage. Pralinas tamasi mudhayoni shujan jayate. Mudhayoni shujayate. The mode of ignorance. This section of Bhagavad Gita is dealing with the question: if someone dies in the modes of nature, where does he go next? So if he's born in the mode of, if he dies in the mode, because that's the exam. We're all keen that our children should score well on their exams. We're coaching them. We're buying books with all the secrets of how the exams are coded, scored. They should all pass their exams with high marks. But this exam, we don't know anything about. But this is the real exam. And here the scoring system is clear. That if someone dies in the mode of goodness, tadottama vidan lokan amulan pratipadyate. Yeah, pratipadyate. Someone dies in the mode of goodness, he goes to the heavenly planets. That also is a failure. It goes to the heavenly planets. He can live for thousands of years enjoying a higher standard of sense enjoyment. And then kshine punye marcha lokam vishanti. Then he falls down again because he's using up his pious credits. And when they're gone, he comes back to this Martyaloka. Katha gatam kama kama labhante. One goes up, one comes down, one goes up, one comes down. That means wasting one's existence. Sometimes going up, sometimes coming down. But that's in the mode of goodness. In the mode of passion, one just comes here and sweats it out, working hard. And in the mode of ignorance, mudha yonishu, jayate. One takes birth as a dog, a cat, a bug, or some lower species of life. Mudha yonishu jayate. Because already he's mudha, already he's not more advanced than an animal. So why should nature give higher facility? If we don't use the facility that we have, why should we be given the same facility in the next life? You're given less facility. Given less facility. The more facility is for those who are responsible, those who are taking on some responsible duty, just like a DM, he gets a bungalow, he gets a car, he gets a driver, he gets a staff, because he's doing responsible work. But if we don't do responsible work, why should we get those things? So the nature knows exactly what to do. If we live like animals in this life, then next life, take an animal body. Why do you need more? Our consciousness is already that of animals. So take an animal body. What is the difficulty? And they're so foolish that they think, yes, what is the difficulty? Srila Prabhupada, in his last lecture and series in Bombay, spoke on these topics. And one sophisticated gentleman asked him from the audience, so if I take my next birth as a dog, what's wrong there? I'll have the consciousness of a dog and I'll be happy. So Prabhupada said, well, if there's nothing wrong, then it's all right. But we don't think that kind of life is very nice. No sane person would, given the choice, like if I give you the choice now, that you stay a human being or you become a dog, who would say, oh, yes, let me become a dog. Let me become a pig. Let me become a skunk. Let me become a chipmunk. No one would say, let me become a bear. No. Only a child might say, oh, I'd like to become a bear. Ooh. That means foolish. Well, for children, foolishness is maybe expected. But certainly no adult intelligent person would think, oh, yes, let me. But then we live our lives in such a way that this is what we can expect. Next life to have the body of a dog, a pig, a bear. Whatever it may be. So this is the standard of modern life and the standard of modern education, to live like dogs and to train the next generation to be like dogs, just working hard for sense gratification without any higher purpose and without understanding. All right, I'm working, but I have knowledge, I understand this is my duty, but without knowledge also, then simply working. The donkey is also working. But he's a fool. He doesn't know that I'm working for this little vegetable in front of my nose, but the vegetable is available on both sides of the road. Why should I be carrying this heavy burden? He doesn't have the intelligence. So the human beings are educated to be asses, and they're very proud that I'm an ass with a degree from the University of Pennsylvania. I'm an ass with a degree from Princeton. I'm an ass with a degree from Harvard. You're an ass. What do I care where you got your degree? You have no higher understanding in life than to try to exploit the resources of the material nature for sense gratification. You can't control your mind. You can't control your senses. You don't even want to control your mind. Why should I control? Well, why should I do that? That means you're less than an ass. And we don't care what university has certified you as highly educated. We think you're an ass. And not only we think it, but Krishna says you are. Namam duskrita namudha prapadyante naradhama. Maya pratagyana asura pavamash. Anyone who doesn't surrender to me must be an ass, murtha, or naradhama, the lowest of human beings. Maya pratagyana, his knowledge must have been plundered by illusion. Or asura bhavamashra, he must just be an outright demon. In any case, wasting the human form of life. So it's serious business. It's not a joke. It's not the picnic we can enjoy. It's just as for, those who are pushing the children, they should study so that they'll get a good education and get a good job. But what about this? To get a good life in the future, to get, these are just material advantages. Go to the heavenly planets. The real benefit is to become Krishna conscious and get free from this whole business of birth and death. That's the business. The Krishna consciousness movement is not meant for just putting a nice little stamp of approval on material life with a thin covering of dharma. It's not meant for producing dharma certified cats and dogs. And I'm a dog, but I go to the temple. I'm a dog, but I go to the temple. Of course, even if a dog comes to the temple, the dog will get some prasadam, and maybe the dog will advance in Krishna consciousness. So we encourage everyone, come, chant Hare Krishna, but don't think that let me remain a dog. A dog, of course, has no choice. He must be a dog. Even then, he'll take prasadam, he'll chant Hare Krishna, he'll benefit. But the human being shouldn't think, I'll take prasadam, but I'll remain a dog. Dog means just working for sense enjoyment without understanding the real goal of life. Without understanding the real goal of life. And he's described in Bhagavatam, Dvipada Pashu, two-legged animal, which means animal. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to deliver us from the ignorance of the dull, prosaic, ignorant life of forgetfulness of Krishna. He's brought the medicine, Enechiao Shodhimaya Nashi Bharavagi, Harinam Mahamantra Lao Tumimaki. He brought the medicine, Hare Krishna Mahamantra Lao Tumimaki. Just take it. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. But then taking Mahamantra means taking to the process of devotional service. Not just that I take the Mahamantra and I remain materially attached to this whole nonsense way of life. Srila Prabhupada told the story of the wedding party. You know the story? There was now there's a lot of weddings going on. So there was one wedding going on in India, And the bridegroom's party had to get to the other side of the river for the ceremonies. So they arrived at the shore, and some boat was there, boatman is there. It was getting to be evening, so they said, we have to be there. In the morning is the auspicious moment. We have to be there. So the boatman, yes, get in. So they all got in the boat, and boatman started rowing. And the men in the party all went to sleep. And next morning they got up, rubbed their eyes, and they saw they were still in the same place. So they began berating the boatman. Hey, Badmash, what are you doing? Da 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 da. No, I've been rowing. I'm doing everything. What is? So there was this big scene. Finally, someone discovered that yes, he'd been rowing all night, but the anchor is still in the water. So he went nowhere. So if we want to actually get the benefit of chanting Hare Krishna, if we actually want to get the benefit of Krishna consciousness, then we have to be serious. Not that I keep the status quo and go back to Godhead. I hold on to all my nonsense and I go back to Godhead. Or we train our children that you hold on to all your nonsense and go back to Godhead. It's not such a cheap thing. You remain ignorant, but you go back to Godhead at the same time. The modern education means ignorance when there's no Krishna consciousness. And Krishna consciousness doesn't mean just like a little ashirvad. Someone rubs your head and now everything is blessed. It means one actually has to understand the purpose of life and have a plan how I'm going to go back to Godhead. Not a plan for staying in this material world forever. That will not be possible, nor desirable. Who wants to stay in this anityam asukam lokam, unhappy place? We should want to get out and want to go back to our real home, not stay in this dukhalaya. Certified dukhalaya. Who wants to stay in a certified dukhalaya but a fool? And even if we stay, no, I like it in the dukhalaya. I have a nice house, I have a nice wife, I have a nice car, I have a nice this. Yes, you can stay in the dukhalaya, but there's no guarantee that you'll stay here as a human being. We may stay as a cat, a dog, maybe the same house, but a dog in the house. What will be the benefit? But Krishna consciousness is so nice. We should take it seriously. Janma sartha kori kara parupakara. We should make our life successful. That means serious business. As serious as we are about making money, as serious as we are about saving money, as serious as we are about our careers, as serious as we are about getting our children married, as serious as we are about everything else, we should be more serious about Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, we're cheating ourselves and we're cheating our family members. We should be serious. We would spend so much time making sure that we don't spend more money than we have to, but we're losing our whole life, which who can calculate the value of? So everything is there, the books are there, the process is there, but we should take it very seriously. All right. Are there any questions? Yes. Is there a second microphone? Mhm.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare
Lord
Krishna.
Brahman. Sometimes, even though we do
You got a
chanting-
microphone, but then you decided to speak very low like this. So
Oh.
speak loudly in the microphone,
Okay,
please.
yeah. Sometimes, Maharaj, even though we do chanting, devotional service, come to temple, like sometimes, many times, in fact, we don't get rid of the false ego.
We don't get rid of?
The false ego.
We don't get rid of the false ego. So that means we have to take up the real ego. The false ego will not, we're chanting, we're coming to the temple, but false ego is staying. That means we have to take up the real ego. Shiver Swarupoy Krishner Nityadas. My real ego is that I'm a servant of Krishna. If I just try to get rid of my false ego, some ego has to be there. Ego means my identity. I have to have some identity. So if I don't have an identity as a servant of Krishna, then I'll have to have that other identity, servant of Maya. So therefore we have to be serious. Let me engage in Krishna's service so that I'm situated in my real identity. Then I'm liberated. Muktir hitvanyata rupam. To get free from my false identity, swarupena vyavastati, and be situated in my real identity, real ego. Yes. Another question?
Krishna Maharaj. Question is, we do devotional service, we do
If you
chanting.
could speak up, that would help me.
Sorry, Maharaj. So we do devotional service, we do chanting, we do bhakti, we do kirtan, we do seva of Lord Krishna, and all. We're good with devotees. But they say, Maharaj, that
Could you speak about twice as loud, please? Twice as loud.
okay. So what is the thing is, we don't. They say that we are always in mode of goodness only. We don't go to transcendental mode.
I'm sorry, I just can't hear you.
So they say that we are always in the mode of goodness. In
Yes.
how much our bhakti we do. So
We're always in the mode of goodness. Who's always in the mode of goodness?
The devotee who does bhakti, they say that
He's not always in the mode of goodness. He's supposed to be beyond the mode of goodness, higher than the mode of goodness. Mode of goodness is material. If he's seriously engaged in Krishna's service, then he's Brahmabhuyaya Kalpate, then he's on the spiritual platform. Mode of goodness means he bathes regularly, he rises early in the morning. All these things are motive, but just to be in the mode of goodness is not our point. Mode of goodness is helpful. Mode of ignorance to be, if I'm sleepy, intoxicated, how will I spiritually advance if I'm deep in ignorance? So my life should be lived according to the principles of goodness. But if I stay in the mode of goodness, that also is Maya. I have to go beyond goodness.
So Maharaj, any devotee who does 16 rounds of chanting and who does bhakti, they are beyond mode of goodness. So they are always in
It
trance.
should be.
Okay.
16 rounds of chanting means seriously chanting. Seriously chanting. And seriously trying, what is that? To maintain material attachments while chanting the holy name. Not that we hold on to the anchor and at the same time we're rowing. All right, some attachment may be there, but I should be progressive. I should be gradually reducing my material attachments and increasing my attachment to Krishna, then I'll make progress. If I want to stay right where I am, then that's what I'll do. And if I think, no, I'll stay right where I am and be transcendental at the same time, I'll hold on to Maya and hold on to Krishna. It will be more difficult. At some point, we have to decide. Or as we go, we have to progressively loosen our attachment to this material world and strengthen our attachment to Krishna.
Thank you.
Mhm. Piche, piche. Hare Krishna.
So it's a constant struggle with my kids. The
A
school gave them,
constant struggle with your kids.
yeah,
This is why we have kids, so that we can constantly struggle with them.
the school
yes.
gave them computers and they hack the computer and figure out how to play video games and all these things. And it's a constant struggle and I don't know how to deal with this.
Well, I was asked yesterday, last night, Friday night, that what advice can you give for the parents who are struggling with children who are being influenced by the bad association in the school and so on? My advice was pull them out.
What about careers?
What about
Careers,
careers?
jobs.
Pull it out. What career? Career is a Shudra.
How does one
You-
pay bondage?
the career means to be trained as a Shudra, to be employable by a big corporation so that they'll give you money so that you'll work for them 10 hours a day. That's called success. And you
Mortgage,
get a big paycheck.
they need to pay their future mortgage bills,
So you need to get there.
future mortgage
Future.
bills and rent.
Future mortgage. They should come to me. I teach them how to get it. You don't even know why they're going to come to me. I'll teach them, get a little house that you can pay off quickly, and don't waste your time in college because you won't be able to pay your mortgage because you'll have $100,000 in school fees that you still have to pay off. Someone told me today, I think yesterday, that they'd seen some statistics that those who complete college and those who don't complete college, at the time they leave college, have the same income, but those who've completed the college have the debt also. So I'm not quite sure about those statistics, because people who go to college, yes, you can get a big job, but this is a failure. This is the failure of human life. I have a big job, I have a big education, I've got my certificate, I've got a big career, I've got a big money, I've got a big house, I've got a big mortgage, I've got all of this, and I don't know who I am. I don't know what the purpose of my life is. I don't know why I'm here. I don't know how to control my mind. I don't know how to control my senses, but I'm a success because I have a big job. Better to be a rickshawwala and know who I am. Now, not that I'm saying, no, you find your son a job as a rickshawwala. That's not the point. But this is the real success. Prabhupada was requested by the life members in Bombay that you please build a school for our children. And they wanted a school, the life members were asking, school means government syllabus school, along with some, prayers and stuff like. Prabhupada refused. He refused. Because he considered that kind of education miseducation. What is this education? I don't know who I am. I don't know what the purpose of my life is, but I have a big house. I have a big car, a big mortgage. That's failure. It's not success. We're so bewildered that we're thinking that failure is success. And success is failure. Success means he may be rich or poor. If he knows who he is, his life is a perfect success. So our priorities are misplaced. So much energy. He should have a career. He should graduate from, IIT or Harvard or this or that or this or that. That's so, and pushing, studies, coaching, all of that. And for Krishna consciousness, it's good. You should come to the temple for an hour a week. But what do you think is going to be the result?
And the kids don't want to come to temple.
No, they don't want to come because you start when they're not accustomed. You send them to the school where everything is working the opposite direction, and then you're surprised that they don't want to come to the temple. Their friends don't want to come to the temple. Why should they? You're throwing them into this association of, I mean, first it's video games. That's innocent compared to what goes on a little bit later. Should we talk about that? No, we shouldn't. We're in the temple. Otherwise, I went to school in New Jersey, and even though it was in the innocent 1950s, I can't speak about it in the temple. To say nothing of what's going on now. So you send them there, and then when they don't want to come to the temple, you're surprised. Why don't they want to come to the temple? What can I do? How do we interest our children in Krishna consciousness, and so on? It's not, like a spare time, easy thing, any more than the other side. You want them to go to IIT. It's not like you send them to a course for 2 hours on a Saturday, right? It's grueling what you put them through for that, right? You spend money and you put them through all sorts of torture so that they can get at the top of the such and such percentile. And then we think that Krishna consciousness, an hour, 2 hours. And so who are we fooling? So call it hard choices. Call it hard choices. You decide for yourself what you think is more important, having a good career or going back to Godhead. A good career will be, even that's not guaranteed. Who was it was just telling me that someone became a lawyer and then he lost his law license. Someone else, local man, he became a doctor and decided he didn't want to be a doctor. Then he went back and did law school for however many years. And now he's making money in law. All right, but what is that? They're doctors, they're lawyers, they're engineers, they write great code, they can manage projects, but they don't know who they are or what the purpose of life is. They don't even know culture, what to speak of knowledge. They don't even know what culture is, what to speak of knowledge. And for the girls, it goes double, at least. To send the girls to college so that they can have a career. What is that? Where in Shastra did you get the idea that your daughter needs a career? Anyone have a verse for me? Manu Samhita, Srimad Bhagavatam. It's your duty to make sure that your daughter has a good career, that she can earn money. It's madness. I don't mind telling you, it's madness. And you people have all been sold on this madness, that what your daughter needs is a career. And after her career, after her education, after she's gotten started in her career, when she's 28 or so, then she needs a good husband. As if I didn't go to college, but I know more about biology than that. I know more about biology than that. We've created a nonsense civilization. I'm sorry. And India's buying it up like as if it's the greatest thing since dal, rice, and chapatis because it's made in America. But it's ignorance. It's ignorance. And what is the result? Unhappiness. By not following Shastra, what's the result? Krishna says, Nasasidhim avapnoti nasukam na paramgatim. Result is that one certainly doesn't go back to Godhead, doesn't become perfect in life, and doesn't even become happy. So you get the same, you follow the same route as the Americans, and you get the same divorce rate as the Americans. What kind of happiness is that? Or even materially, I say your education is all nonsense. So, not that one shouldn't be educated, but one should get a better education. This is all foolish education. How to make a lot of money and then squander it. Even, leave aside Krishna consciousness. They learn how to make piles of money and then spend piles of money. What kind of educated person would spend on something for which he has to pay 28% interest? That's not even, what to speak of education, that's not even sanity. It's madness. What person in his right mind would buy anything for which he has to pay 28% interest? And is that the going rate on a credit card purchase? 28%. What person in his right mind would, that you're buying air. 28% goes for nothing. But because I don't have the self-control and the intelligence to say, maybe I want it, but maybe I don't need it. Or maybe I do need it, but I can't afford it right now. And so I'll wait and buy it when I can afford it. No, we don't have that. That education they didn't give us. They gave us the education to make a lot of money and spend like a fool. It's a misdirected way of life, a misdirected civilization. To spend our money on needless necessities. And then we're wondering why I have no time. I'm working so hard. I'm working so hard and I'm spending on 28, I'm paying the bank for something I don't need to begin with, and which I couldn't afford and therefore had to use this credit. What education is that? I never got a college education and I've never been in debt. And all of your college graduates start out in debt. How much in debt are they by the time they finish college? Average? $100,000 or so in debt to begin with. So you take it seriously. Whether you send them to college, you don't send them to college, career, not career, but that's secondary. Primary thing is the real business of life. If you neglect that, the whole thing is lost. If we miss that, we miss the train. So they can have a good career, not so good career. I don't really care. Person with I quoted in my book, this is like knowledge from more than 1,000 years ago. The one Greek author, he has his character saying that you think that I'm more happy because I have more wealth. For my wealth, I don't get even the slightest bit more happiness than the poor man. All I get is that I have to worry more. I have to look after that wealth with anxiety that it not be plundered. I have to deal with everyone who wants a piece of my money. That I get. But I don't get this much more happiness than when I was poor. So the goal of the Krishna consciousness movement is not to create a class of new crows. You know what the new crow is? Prabhupada said that the crows, you take your meal, you throw your plates, and the crows come and they clean the plates. So after the crows leave, if new crows come, let us get something also. It's going to be slim pickings, but anyway, that's what they do. Prabhupada said the Westerners are the crows and the Indians are the new crows. So the purpose of the Hare Krishna movement is not to create a class of new crows. It's not meant for that. It's meant to create real human beings. Human being means he knows who he is, he knows how the goal of life, he knows how to control his mind, he knows how to control his senses. That. And I guarantee you, if he has that, his career will be taken care of. Krishna's the financier. There's no shortage of money. If it's in your chart to have money, money will come looking for you. They won't want to, it won't demand, show me your degree. If it's your destiny to have money, money will find you in your garage. Steve Jobs, money found him in his garage, yeah? Wasn't a problem. And if you're not meant to have money, money will see you and run in the opposite direction. Despite your degree, despite your everything. Or you'll get money and your health will fall apart. Or you'll, a million other things can happen. But if you have Krishna consciousness, you're always well situated. That's the real business of life.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Please accept my obeisance. All Krishna Prabhupada. Maharaj, this is quite a sensitive topic that you just...
Another sensitive topic.
No, it's an extension to...
Okay, we'll see who's the most sensitive here. Yes.
So Maharaj, even if we look at in our ISKCON society, those who are raising children, now there are very few parents who are, how shall I put it, fully Krishna conscious.
In ISKCON, there are very few parents who are fully Krishna conscious. There are very few anythings who are very fully Krishna conscious. Yes.
So Maharaj, it would require a level of, I don't know whether faith or commitment, what you just said. It makes sense that to make a person educated, spiritual knowledge, not the degree of some cat or dog. But albeit in such a situation, Maharaj, where there is not that level of advancement, it's only natural for the parent to seek, a degree as a cat university or whatever it is. So
no,
how
I
do you
understand you're going with the default. The easy thing to do is you send them to the public school, then you send them to the university, then they get a career, then that's the easy thing to do. You just go with the flow. So
how do we balance this for someone who's in ISKCON?
Louder.
How do we balance this, Maharaj? That
you get serious about it individually and as individually and corporately, individually and as a group. Your parents, the Shastra says, Pitana sasyat namochiet ya samupetya mrityum. Don't become a parent unless you can save your child from the clutches of birth and death. That's the Shastra conjunction. So then I have to think, either not have children, fine with me. That's, sannyasis have no complaint, but otherwise have children, but Krishna conscious. Now, how do we do that? We have to be serious. The karmis have, they have their school boards, they have their budget meetings, they have their this, they have their that, they have their private schools. You guys have enough money, you could start your own big private school. You could, over time. So, of course, that's a big thing. But do something. I heard a talk by an entrepreneur. I've mentioned this several times, I think. He started a software company with making church software, as it happens, very good church software. And he started off just doing something because he didn't like the software that his church had. It was too complicated. He thought, let me do something simple. So he made the simple software. And then somebody looked at it and said, oh, that's nice. Could we use that for our church also? Yeah, you can. And it started going around, and it became a very big software company. And they recently sold out to a big, got bought out for an undisclosed large sum. So he was asked, what is your advice for young entrepreneurs? He said, my advice is do something. It's not that you start by what we need is a university of our own. What we need is, that's like, how are you going to do that? But do something. Don't just go with the flow. Just don't go with the default that the standard is video games and Karmi school and all the nonsense. Do something. Do as much as you can and do more. If it's important, if I said that your money is at risk, you're all, by the end of the month, you're all going to lose your jobs. What would you do? You do something. I don't know what you do, but you wouldn't say, well, it's so hard. We don't know. You'd get together, you'd consult one another, you'd do something. What's something you would do? I can't tell you, but you would be very serious about it. So be equally serious about this. Do something. I'm not a teacher. I'm not a parent. I don't know what to tell you to do. You might start off by reading, I've recommended this before, Arud Hadasi's book, Homeschooling Krishna's Children. Whether you homeschool your children or you do something else, the book is worth its weight in gold. You can get it on Amazon.com. You can get it from other places. Here's parents who did their own, who didn't follow the system, and both of their sons are professors. They both went to Oxford University at an early age, and now they're well situated in their careers. So who am I to say anything? But she's got credentials, proven results. Go read the book. That's the first thing you can do. That doesn't cost you anything, $10 or $20. Go read the book. That's a start. Then do the next thing. What's the next thing? I don't know. Strengthen this program, strengthen that program, start this, start that. And then the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Seriously, because you're going to lose your job. Or if I told you, if you don't do this, your son's going to get run over by a truck in 3 weeks, you would do something. I don't know what you would do, but you would do something, and you would do it seriously. So do something. Yes.
Maharaj, thank you for the enlightening class. How do you reconcile His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada telling some of his disciples who wanted to not complete their education or even their PhDs, he would say, no, you must complete it. One
How do we
example.
reconcile this? That Prabhupada had disciples and they wanted to interrupt their education, and Prabhupada said, no, you must complete your education. Okay, what it was, that generally Prabhupada dismissed it. That you join this society, you become a brahmachari, and you don't waste time in this schools and colleges. That was his general program. And I can, so many instances, don't waste time. But if someone had already embarked on it, say he's done 2 years of his graduate degrees and only he has a year or two more and write his thesis, then Prabhupada would encourage you, finish it. But not that everyone should, if you haven't been to college, then make sure you go to college. If you've spent a year in college, you must finish the other 3. No. Does that answer your question?
Yes, but so just one more little point, Maharaj. One example.
Excuse me, and that also wasn't for career. Then Prabhupada had them use their degrees for preaching. Go ahead.
One example that clearly comes to mind is His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Damodar
Bhakti
Maharaj.
Swarup Damodar Maharaj, Rabindra Swarup Prabhu,
Yes.
they were already in the, halfway there. So, all right, finish it. And then use it. Prabhupada had some program that he wanted done. So you use that for Krishna. Otherwise, he didn't encourage, oh, you're a nice young man, you become a scientist. You're a nice young, but you're already practically a scientist, finish your degree and then be a scientist. And not working for a big corporation, making money and buying a big house for preaching. That was Swarup Damodar Maharaj. Don't even get married. It wasn't for getting a good career to support your family. Become a scientist and preach. You're already, a couple more years of qualification. Finish it and become a scientist and preach. So if you can produce Swarup Damodar Maharajs, then I'm all 100% behind you.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Any more sensitive questions? Yes.
Colleges are forcing an untested COVID vaccine to become part of colleges. How do you?
Colleges are forcing an untested COVID vaccine to become part of college. I think your facts are probably not right. They're probably forcing a somewhat tested COVID vaccine in order to attend college. That's probably the situation. They're tested. To what extent they're tested is another question. The whole COVID question we'll leave aside. And the vaccine is the least of it. If all your kid had to do, if the worst thing that would happen to your kid is that he'd take get this vaccine at college, we'd consider it like we've attained incredible advances. If the worst thing that would happen, if you knew the worst thing that could possibly happen to my son or daughter at college is they'll have to take this untested vaccine, I'd say, wow, that's amazing. Because what the worst thing is really way past that. And even the best thing looks a lot like a disaster. The COVID vaccine is the least of it. I was walking on the university. It's harder to get into UC Berkeley than it is to get into Harvard. Admission at UC Berkeley is harder than admission to Harvard, from what I'm told. So I'm walking on the campus of UC Berkeley one morning, because they're close to our temple in Berkeley. And there's a little stand with pamphlets for the incoming freshmen. And, like 10 pages, something like that. Introductory, what's what and who's who around here. And there's one page that was dedicated to watch out for the cults, Hare Krishna and the rest of them. And there are 2 pages, at least, dedicated to the gay scene. Giving quite clear and definite instructions on how you can try it on and see if it's for you. Where you go, what clubs you can, the geography where you go, and then sort of how you get to know people, and how you get to try on the sexual identity opposite to the one that God gave you. Of course, they didn't say the one God gave you, but the one you were born with. So, you guys are spending like $50,000 a year or something. Is that to send your kid to the University of California so that he could try on being gay? COVID vaccine, that's nothing. Kid comes out of the college, he doesn't know whether he's a boy anymore. Now, that's not every kid, but that's, you know, a sample of what awaits you. Of course, that's Berkeley. Another student, a devotee from Amritsar. His son wanted to study design. He got admission at a good school in the Bay Area. His parents had some money. They moved him in. They got an arrangement so that he could live a little bit in his own flat and do his own cooking, you know, because he's a nice boy. After like 6 months, the boy was so unhappy because he was in such a degraded environment that he went back home and did his studies online. We have one devotee, he's not this congregation, he's Tawako congregation. He's a headhunter for universities, not staff headhunting, but hunting for students. The colleges like foreign students because they pay full price, whereas a student from within the state pays a lower price. So they like the foreign students, and also they do well, so that's prestigious for the school. So he's hunting Indian students for various universities, and he told me that it's getting harder. Why is it getting harder? Because the Indian students have figured out that I'll go to America, I'll spend all this money for my education, I'll get a job in America, I'll have American expenses, and if I stay home, I can get an education that's equal or better back in India. And at the end, I'll have the same degree, and my expenses will be, you know, a fraction of what they'll be here. Let me stay home. That's just the material side of it. At the end of the day, education in America is somewhat better, at least on the scientific. It may be better, it may be worse, it may be twice as good. I don't really care. If at the end you come out a dog with a PhD, what do I care if you're the best educated dog? You don't know how to control your mind. You don't know how to control your senses. You don't know the purpose of life, but you got a better science education than you could have gotten in Delhi. I don't really care. I'm not impressed. Forgive me. So it means, first of all, we have to be serious, because if we're not serious, you can't say to your sons and daughters, you have to be serious. I'm not, but you be. So first we have to be serious, and then we have to be serious about them. It's not easy. I understand that. If it were easy, I might have tried it. I understand it's very, very difficult, but this is what it is. Now, we haven't gone overtime, have we?
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Boले Jai Dwesa Maharaj ki jai. Quick announcements. If you still have questions, you can reach out to Maharaj separately. This Sunday feast is sponsored by two families. Okay. Manmohan Prabhu is sponsoring today's Sunday feast for their son Janish Kinger's 7th birthday. If they are here, please come forward. And also, Haribol. Dr. Sanjeet Kumar Dutta for the memory of their parents. Dattatreya Prabhu is here, so they are also sponsoring. So let's chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra one time at least. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So
Are you Janesh?
before we do the cake cutting,
Okay.
yeah, done.
This one's for you.
Thursday is Ekadasi, Shayana Ekadasi. And also, Ribo. And also the Purushottam month is coming up. Please plan accordingly. July 17th to August 15th is very, very auspicious Purushottam month. We'll send you the details how we'll celebrate here at our temple.
It's good qualification. Here's one for you. It's okay. Okay.
And July 3rd is still Sanatana Goswami's
borrow
Tirobhav, and is also Srila Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj's Tirobhav. So a very important day. And it's
one's
first
for
month of Chaturmas starting on that day, July 3rd. Fasting from green leafy vegetables, sock especially. So we'll have cake cutting now. Yeah. 28th, 29th, Wednesday, Thursday is great. Gaurang Darshan Prabhu will be here at the temple. We'll have 7 to 9 program. Please join here. Yeah, 7 to 9. Okay. Go ahead, cake cutting.
Krishna, Krishna, Hari, Hari.
Hare Krishna to you. Hare Krishna to you.
I'm
Hare
on mic, yeah.
Krishna, dear. Hare Krishna to you. May you never take birth again. May you never take birth again. May you never take birth again and go back to Godhead.